One of the things that I teach my daughters is that to have more peaceful and functional relationships in this life, there are certain key things that they need to learn and understand about men in general. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule, but there are still key things that apply for the most part to most men. And the first thing that I teach them is that men and women are completely different. The way we go about things in our lives, the way that we interpret information, the way that we problem solve, the way we view the world, the way that we behave, it's two completely different thought processes. Although we do have the same basic core human needs to be loved, to be heard, to be understood, to feel wanted, we go about that differently. Women tend to be emotionally based. They move based upon how they feel, whereas men tend to be more logic-based and ego-driven. Things need to make sense. And if you look at men when they're raised, typically when men are younger, they're not really taught how to process their emotions. They're not really taught what to do with their emotions. When you look at them when you're younger, a lot of times they're told, boys don't cry, man up, or they're called a sissy. They're taught to hold everything in. So although they do have feelings, they're not always necessarily sure what to do with those feelings or how to process those feelings. This would be why when a man falls in love, he tends to fall harder than a woman does. And I know many women disagree with that, but they do. When a man really falls in love, he falls in love. And that's because it takes a lot for a man to open up. It takes a lot for a man to be vulnerable because it goes against everything that he was ever taught. They're taught to shut down. They're taught to hold it in for the most part. So when a man takes the chance to trust a woman with his heart, to open up, to let the wall down, and to be vulnerable, it's very difficult because there's no logic when it comes to love. That's a very foreign area for them to feel. So that's the first key thing that I teach my daughters when it comes to understanding men.
Okay, this comment needs to be addressed. I get literally dozens and hundreds of comments every single day on my videos of men thanking me for not bashing them. So I think it's time for us women to do better. Not all men are horrible, just like not all women are good. Men are not the problem. And if you've dated many men and they all hurt you, it seems like you're having the problem with who you're choosing to love and be in your life. And it's time for you to make the change. Quit blaming men for your issues. Men deserve to be loved just as much as women do. They also have feelings and they're compassionate, just like us women are. This whole down with the man movement needs to stop. We live in a day and age where we can all be loved. And so many things are changing in this world. Okay, bye!
At the very least, every woman is somebody's daughter, possibly somebody's sister, and possibly somebody's mother. And the complete lack of awareness that many women display for how a man operates, how a man thinks, how he processes the world around him, how he processes his emotions, it's concerning to me. And it's concerning because these same women, you're raising children. You're surrounded by men on a daily basis. And if you're a mother, then if you don't understand how a man's emotions work and how he processes the world, then what are you teaching your sons? Because a mother's the first teacher. A mother teaches her son how to relate to women on an emotional level, how to resolve conflict with the opposite sex. You're raising your daughters. So if you're not teaching your daughters how to relate to men and how to understand them and how to understand their emotions, then what are you teaching them? And I'm concerned because these young boys are going to grow up to meet my daughters. And these young girls are going to grow up to meet my sons. And there's very little awareness on how the opposite side works. And it's very concerning.
honest. Who do you call when you were at your lowest?
Nobody. I'm a man.
Not a single soul. Nobody.
No one. No one cares.
Nobody. I'm a guy. Nobody gives a shit.
Well, to be honest, nobody really gives a fuck when you're a guy.
If I'm being completely honest, no one.
Cole? Who am I call? Ghostbusters? I'm a man.
No one. Not a single fucking person.
We would act about if who's like you feel. So we don't do it.
No one.
We can call somebody? I just thought nobody gave a fuck because I was a man.
I agree with them. Well, I believe in a fake reality when the answer's always going to be nobody. I'm a man.
You know, I thought I was a lucky one because I had someone to call, but they never ever picked up. And it got to the point where I called suicide hotline, and they told me it wasn't a concerning case, and then hung up the phone. So, really, the answer is nobody. Nobody cares, even professionals.
You know, there's something about male psychology that I don't think a lot of women fully understand. You underestimate how much men really would like to feel appreciated, complimented, and loved instead of competed with. Remember, inside every grown man is a 10-year-old boy looking for you to care for him. And if you can connect with that guy, oh, he's going to be stuck to you like glue.
Why do men like to waste a woman's time? Well, that one is very easy to answer. Because in actuality, they don't. They don't waste your time. One thing about men that women can learn from is a man will evaluate you. He will take his time to get to know you, to see who you are, to see how you carry yourself in certain situations, to see how you react or respond to certain things, to see how you deal with arguments. He will, take a look at your life, the people you surround yourself with, how you talk about different things, different people. He will look at all of that and make a determination as far as where he can see you in his life. What role can you play in his life? Are you somebody that he could see as a wife? Are you somebody that could just be friends with benefits? Like maybe he likes your company, but he sees certain things in you that for him are not wife qualities. You might be somebody who, because of certain traits that you display, he might be cool with you, but he may not have any sexual attraction to you. Or you could just be somebody who he doesn't like certain things about you and he just doesn't want you around him at all. It's very simple. They're not wasting time. They're not wasting your time. They're taking the time to figure out who you are so they can determine where they can see you in their life. And really more women should learn how to do that, because the question honestly should become not why are they wasting your time, but why are you not taking the same time to evaluate them, to see what role you could see them playing in your life as well. Is he worthy of being a husband? Is he worthy of being a boyfriend? Is he worthy of being just friends with benefits or just your friend? You should be taking the same amount of time to evaluate him as he is in evaluating you. So really, it's not a waste of time on either side. It should be time that you take to evaluate the other person to determine, do they meet those things on your list that you need and require for a partnership? And then the next question would be, do you even know what you need and require?
I know that you want him to do something for you because he wants to do it, not because you told him to do it, but he doesn't think this way. A good man that cares for you will do the thing that makes you happy because he wants you to be happy, not because it makes him happy. I mean, isn't this more meaningful anyways?
Something I want the women to understand about men. Yes, as women in society, we are told that we have to look a certain way and we have to be beautiful. And if not, we're judged. Our men have their own insecurities as well. Insecurities that I don't think we talk about as often. They fear that they're not going to be a good husband, a good boyfriend, a good father, a good business owner, a good provider. This is not me comparing, and this is not me saying this only applies to men. This applies to anyone, and this also doesn't apply to all men. They wonder what other people are thinking about them, whether it's not being educated enough, not making enough money, or not being attractive. And it doesn't help in society when men are told to just be a man, brush it off, and not show their emotions. I say this only so we're conscious of what the other person might be feeling inside. We all have insecurities, and I'm not saying we should accept bad behavior, but we should be conscious of what we're saying and how we're understanding others.
Boys suck! I hope I got your attention. Not all boys suck, sometimes they just think differently than we do. Welcome to Understanding Boys Part 1. Have you ever been with your boyfriend or the guy you're talking to, just hanging out, and you feel like they're not as excited to see you as you are to see them? This is because they think differently than we do. Us girls will plan stuff with our guys and feel really excited about it and like hype it up in our heads. Whereas boys are more like, oh, I'm seeing her, I want to see her, but I see her all the time. It doesn't mean as much in their heads. Whereas girls like value that time so much and get so excited about it. You guys are just thinking differently. He still likes to spend time with you, but he knows that he's gonna see you all the time. Whereas girls are like, oh my god, this is my chance, like, to hang out with him.